Welcome live inside the David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center inside Mohawk College for the 2016-2017 season opener for the Mohawk Mountaineers men and women's basketball teams. Today they will be playing the Niagara College Knights, and as the starting lineups are underway and getting named onto the court, I'm Nick Birnie. Alongside me, Sadie Martin. We will also see Christine Midgley later. Sadie, what are a couple players to look for on either side as we come into today's opener?
I think for Mohawk, definitely Sam Pockernick is going to be one you're going to want to watch for. She's not a rookie this year, but she was out most of last season with a concussion. Already in a preseason game against Niagara, she scored 23 points, so I think we're going to see the same for that. Do you have someone off Niagara we should be watching out for?
One person to keep in mind, Courtney McPherson, who grabbed 16 boards in Niagara's first game. They have already started their season with a 77-47 victory over Sheridan College. So this is the first game for Mohawk, for both the men and women's, and for the women's team, as you mentioned, 3 straight silvers, 3 straight second place finishes. This year,
something's got to change.
Something's got to change. For Mr. Duffy,
He's hungry.
The focus is the top and nothing more. And in my opinion, one of the biggest keys will be the fact that last year they dealt with so many injuries, and the way that they were able to deal with those injuries, get new faces on the court more often, that kind of helped them to adjust, get into the game more, and those players who are now stuck around as the veterans like Jen have left, now they have a little more experience under their belt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No injuries, so you can only expect that they should be able to pull out a gold medal this year. Do you have the lineup for us? Who's starting us off?
The starters for the Niagara College Knights will be Brooklyn Murdoch, number 4, Alyssa McCabe, number 5, Courtney McPherson to keep an eye out for, number 6, Mary Ingrabelli, number 8, and Emily Nacarado, number 9. And for Mohawk, we will see Hunter Johns, number 11, Stephanie Rymack, number 15, Shannon O'Neill, number 22, Monica Batnick, number 32, and newcomer Jasmina Kucic in the lineup, wearing number 34. The tip is underway, and Mohawk under the basket with a quick early chance, and a miss from Hunter Johns. Niagara back with the ball. It's Brooklyn Murdoch. Moving forward, a quick long-range three-pointer off front rim from Mary Ingrabelli, but the board picked up and put back home by Emily Nacarado. An early start and lead for Niagara College on their first trip down the court.
Mohawk looks a little frazzled to start here. They don't
exactly
look as
the
organized.
Best ball movement to start the game. Ball will be out near the baseline and inbounded by Monica Batnick in her second year with Mohawk College. The sophomore into Johns, back to Batnick on the handoff. Top of the key, Shannon O'Neill from long range, no good. The board falls. O'Neill going for it, and it'll be a jump ball in possession in favor of Niagara College.
And that's one thing you can always count on with Shannon. She's a very physical player, and she is going to follow her shots and look to get her rebounds and fight for the ball.
And Kevin Duffy, prior to this game, when talking to me a week or so ago, prior to the beginning of this season, had lots of positive things to say about Shannon O'Neill and lots of high expectations coming into this, her 3rd season with Mohawk.
Yeah, last year she definitely had a huge building year, and she turned out to be one of the keys when a lot of people were getting injured. She was someone that stepped up, so hopefully her confidence can continue to build this year.
A quick turn and miss down low from Courtney McPherson, and here come the Mountaineers back the other way. O'Neill. Here is Kucic excuse me. Unfortunately, a little out of control with the offensive foul there.
It looks like Mohawk's trying to force the ball a little bit too much right now. They're not doing as good a movement as Niagara.
We talked about that earlier. The nerves for Mohawk, it's their first game of the year. Niagara have already got that out
of the way. Yeah, 100%. And Niagara coming off a win for their home opener.
Starting from the baseline after the out of bounds off Niagara. O'Neill to Rymack. Steph Rymack, one of the veterans of this Mohawk team, swings it across. O'Neill looking inside. Kucic off her hands, battling. Down low, up to the top. Johns, and a travel as Johns, unfortunately, taking a quick step there before the dribble. So turnovers to start the game have been a problem for Mohawk on the offensive end.
Yeah, we're seeing, and it sounds like their last game against Niagara, they started out with a slow start as well, so it looks like we're kind of seeing the same. Niagara's come out with a lot more fire.
And that game you mentioned, they were down 16 points at the half in that preseason tournament match in the Georgian Fall Basketball Classic, which Mohawk ended up winning for a 4th straight time prior to the season starting in the early part of October here.
Yeah, and so for that, Sam Pokranic, she was the tournament MVP. She scored 23 points. We've mentioned she wasn't one of the starters, but she's definitely someone we're going to be watching today.
And as the first goes down from Alyssa McCabe, another girl to keep your eye on who dropped 15 points, leading the way for a Niagara win in their first matchup versus Sheridan. She has made both shots here.
And Mohawk still has yet to get it on the board.
And as Batnick will inbound, pressure building on the Mountaineers with every missed opportunity, and there's a turnover right there. Pressure forced. Nacarado takes the pass down low, can't do much with it, and McPherson is down and grabbing at her arm and seems in some pain, but is going to be able to get to her feet with a little help.
We're seeing a lot more aggression from the Niagara team. I think the press was something that threw Mohawk off their game last game, and I think we're kind of seeing the same. It doesn't look like Mohawk was able to smooth it out.
And ironically, that's usually the press that we often see going the other way.
Exactly.
From Mohawk.
Mohawk's used to putting the pressure on, not receiving it.
So using a little of Mohawk's own tactics against itself has worked for the Knights thus far. There's
nice
a great
take.
running lay-in, though, as Johns, with a bit of an off-balance shot, gets the first bucket for Mohawk in the first points of the new season. So now Murdoch moving slowly up through midcourt. And she will find McCabe across to Nacarado. Nacarado inside. Murdoch cutting towards the hoop. Tried to find McPherson on low.
I liked Mohawk's defense there. They were a lot closer
there.
and weren't allowing Niagara to get any looks that they wanted.
And that's the kind of swarming defense that Duffy
is known for.
is known for his teams. So the ball will be inbounded right now.
And I think
Carissa
a huge
Brown.
difference for Mohawk right now is they've always had Jen Janabella, who's a phenomenal dribbler. She can weave through any press almost, so not having her on the court is definitely going to make it difficult.
And a great 1-2 there. Sorry to cut you off, Sadie.
That's
does
okay.
not turn out well. And eventually a push foul from McPherson. And we will get 2 shots for Jasmina Kusik, the newcomer, and one of the rookies, 4 newcomers on the team, along with Callie Strongman, as well as Allison Spolstra and Danielle Datskew. Niagara looking to make a substitution as the second free throw off back rim and out. McPherson will bring forward. Now Murdoch. Worked on by Carissa Brown, the veteran. Rymack guarding hard against Ingrabelli. Ingrabelli now runs in to Karina Brown, and it will be a jump ball possession for the Mountaineers.
Duffy's happy about that defense. He's clapping at the sidelines there, so it's definitely the pressure he wants to be seeing from his girls.
And that's more of what Kevin likes to see from his team. Meanwhile, Michael Beccaria, the coach for Niagara College, will be making a substitution, bringing on Kim Shepard in just a moment for Courtney McPherson. And now the referees are meeting and seem like they will bring in the subs and keep the call as Mohawk possession. So inbounding to the right on the sideline will be Carissa Brown. And she brings it into the veteran Rymack. Steph, like you said, Jen Janabella, a big piece of this team the last few years. Steph Rymack is now in that position. She is now that leader for this year's team.
And she's definitely one of the key veterans on the Mohawk team. There's a lot of graduates that should have been done their college career now, but they're still playing basketball. So they picked up another program and they're still here, which shows the attitude that they also want a gold OCAA under their belt.
And as Kusik grabs the first board of her career with Mohawk, the Mountaineers have evened things, now taking their first lead of the new season at 5-4 over Niagara. With just under 6.5 to play, and now a travel from Carissa Brown under pressure, and we will see another pair of substitutions. Monica Batnick coming back into the game for Mohawk, and coming off for the first time will be Steph Rymack.
And it looks like the Niagara's defense is doing exactly what they wanted to do against Mohawk. Mohawk's breaking the press, but then they're just so frazzled. We just saw another travel. We've seen a couple of them now on Mohawk's side, and Niagara's getting possession of the ball again.
So Murdoch at the top, Nacarado across to McCabe. A lot of the offense goes from the top of the key from both of these sides. McCabe with pressure on, shot clock down, drops a 3 from long range, and it's an air ball. And Murdoch tried to play it from underneath the basket and couldn't do much about that. So another turnover from Niagara, a game that has had very little scoring through the first 4 minutes of play roughly now.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a battle of the defenses at this point.
And a turnover down low, Murdoch. Quickly, Nacarado blocked away by Kusick. And Kusick getting involved. Now there's a great pass up court and a great finish. Batnick finding Brown.
There's great movement there, and that's what Mohawk needs to do more of. If they're able to break that press, they gotta make Niagara pay for it.
And as Murdoch driving forward, earns the foul. You can feel that, albeit the lead was very slim and it wasn't much at 4-0, considering it's been about 2.5 minutes since Niagara scored, they are starting to press a bit. Feeling a little worried that they don't want to fall too far behind here. And there's a drive forward, an elbow to the face, and a charge called on Nacarado. And the veteran, Karina Brown, able to stand strong and take that one.
And that's something that always pumps up a team when something like that happens. So hopefully the Mohawk can keep this roll on.
And quickly we will see the substitution of Ingrabelli coming back in and the first look at Jolene Awuku. As coming off are Emily Nacarado and Brooklyn Murdoch. From the baseline, Carissa Brown to Shannon O'Neill. Up the side, it's Jasmine Kusick. Kusick cutting towards the hoop with no fear.
Nice finish, yeah.
Up strong with an easy bucket. And we heard a lot of good things about Jasmine Kusick thanks to her size and her fleet of foot. And she's showing it here. There, almost a pick. Ball worked around though, still in possession. Niagara, long range 3, drilled. Off the bench by Juan Nguyen Marshall. The youngster in her first year from Scarborough. 9-7 lead for the Mountaineers. Shannon O'Neill. Lots of expectations on Shannon coming into this
nice pass.
Her third year. Great underneath look.
It's a good see. And that's, Shannon and Karina now, they've been working together for a couple years, so you could just see that chemistry there. She knew exactly what move she was going to do, and the pass was right there.
And as you said, felt like they had done that too many times in practice. Looked too easy. Rymack getting ready to come back into the game, along with Hunter Johns as the call is made, and it will be Mohawk ball on the outside after the step out of bounds from the Niagara forward. So back on the court, the 5 for Mohawk right now, Hunter Johns, Monica Batnick, Carissa and Karina Brown, and Steph Rymack. Rymack moving forward, cutting to the hoop, and she'll draw the foul on the hack on her way up. And once again, like you said, last year, Jen Genabella, a lot of times we noticed when on the court, she was the leader, she was the ball controller, and this year it will need to be more of Steph taking over. And as I asked Steph, she said that it's not necessarily all about her being better or being the leader, but just playing the same role she did last year. And I think
she's a very versatile player.
And I think that's fair enough to say that the role she played last year is all she really needs to do again, because she's
a great shooter.
Player.
She's a great point guard, bringing up the ball. She can organize her team, and she's also a killer on defense. So she's good at anticipation, and I think she's a very well-rounded player.
And clearly one of the leaders on this team, not just because of the years of experience here at Mohawk, but also her ball handling ability, as you mentioned, from the point position. Quickly up court, Niagara under a lot of pressure now, and now Carissa Brown snagging that one out of the air. Quickly back come the Mountaineers. Hunter Johns, Rymack gathering the crew, figuring the play. To the corner, it's Batnick underneath, back to Rymack, open 3. Rymack just a little hard. Still in possession.
The shot clock's going down to 6.
Underneath Johns, great left-handed move, up and in off back eye.
She has a great eye on that basket. Sometimes the moves she makes, her finish is great. That's that mentality part of it. She always finds the net.
And there are more pressure in the middle, and it's picked off by Johns. Back the other way. She'll stop and pop, and off the back iron. A foul called on Brooklyn Murdoch for the tap on the forearm as she leaned up to try and get a block on that. Great turnover again forced by Mohawk just at midcourt.
We're seeing Mohawks kind of on a power surge right now.
And you can
Niagara's getting a little frazzled.
Niagara will take that timeout, a much needed timeout. So as we take our first break here, Mohawk lead by 14-7 scoreline. And as we've seen through the first quarter, or most of in this first 6 minutes, not a lot of scoring because it's been a bit of a sloppy game. Nerves have played a part, but turnovers for both sides have been in abundance.
Huge. And I think that's because both these teams are very strong defensively. So, no one's holding back. Everyone's putting the pressure on each other. We're seeing full court presses both ways. And I think it's frazzling and playing against each team in different ways. But Mohawk's looking like they're starting to get it together.
And as you take a look inside the Mohawk huddle, and Kevin Duffy relaying some information to the girls, clearly Kevin's focus here is good defense will beat good offense, and that is of course what the scoreline is telling us for the first quarter, or most of. But at the same time, it's good to see that they are willing to run the court and push and drive, and it was nice to see Monica as well as Hunter get some points, and also really nice to see Jasmina Kusic getting on the board a couple times and showing exactly what Kevin Duffy was talking about prior to the game. She could be a very skilled player on both ends of the court.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with defense, that's you against the other player on the team. Offense, that's something that's going to come as the team grows and they start to work together. So I think it's smart that they're focusing on defense right now, because defense can win a game.
And as we return, Hunter Johns will make her first of 2 free throws, raising the lead to 15-7 now. Highest lead in the game, and of course of the season, considering this is our first match for Mohawk, and it's now 16-7 for the Mountaineers.
And Mohawk isn't letting up the pressure.
Hunter Johns, by the way.
It looks like they're looking to trap them at half court.
Another press from Mohawk. Hunter Johns, 6 foot from Kitchener.
Nice finish.
And Niagara finally back on the board there. Steph Rymack now forward to Batnick. Rymack finding it across. Carissa Brown. Across to Rymack, cutting to the hoop, and an easy finish.
And that was, a play that they saw through, that the clock was kind of winding down at that point, but they waited for the right opportunity, and it was a great easy bucket for Steph.
Forced down low into the corner, but Murdoch able to whip it back out. Now McCabe takes a step in and looks to launch off back iron. Still grabs her own board and drew the foul from the body of Brown.
I think we're seeing a lot more harder shots coming from Niagara. They're not really getting into the key as much as Mohawk's able to. So Mohawk's really keeping them outside and letting them take those shots.
And the game started with a little less pressure on the actual ball handler from Mohawk. And since then, in those first 4 possessions and a couple scores, Kevin Duffy has asked them to not give a second to anyone touching the ball. And that has been a big difference on the defensive
100%.
end. Ball is inbounded. Niagara will start at the top. It's Awuku now driving with the right hand and a great finish.
Easy, yeah.
And Duffy will not be pleased with the lack of bodies getting in front of that.
Yeah, there was no help defense there.
18-11, Niagara with a couple scores finally on their last few possessions. Rymack at the top asking for a roll. And unfortunately, Kusic called for a moving screen, and therefore Niagara will take over possession. Another turnover from Mohawk College. And as much as I hate to say the lead intact, still the turnovers will be very disappointing for Kevin come the end of this first quarter.
100%.
So Mary Ingrabelli able to launch long range off the front rim. Now Batnick trying to battle with Awuku, and I believe we're going to get a jump ball called. And it's going to go the way of Mohawk College, I believe. Or excuse me, they're going to change it. It is going to be Niagara College ball. So Ingrabelli will inbound from underneath the basket. But first, a substitution. Awuku coming off, and Hope Brown coming into the ball game. Brown to inbound. Looking underneath, waiting. Long range throw back up top. Awuku makes a little cut under pressure, throws it up off back rim. And now down low, battling is Julia Seymour with Hunter Johnson. Unfortunately, this jump ball will be won the way of Mohawk College thanks to the possession ruling.
Looks like Niagara's lifting their pressure.
So Niagara dropping back now to a half-court press. O'Neal bodied hard by Awuku, throwing it down inside. Jasmina Kusic took an extra step, and as Rymack went to the basket, she took a hard shot from Murdoch. So it's been a physical contest, and as much as Niagara may be laying off the full court press, they clearly are still pressing in their own half. And as we see a timeout from Kevin Duffy as the lead's back down to 7. Things for Mohawk have slowed down a bit, but a good first quarter thus far. I would think the one thing that Duffy would like to see a little more of on the offensive end is a little more movement.
Yeah, a little bit cleaner. I think I just heard him kind of yelling, "What play are we doing?" Because they were scrambling around a little bit and then it ended up with a travel. So Duffy's always done very organized basketball, and I think at this point, stick with structure. That's what they've been scoring off of, is running through those plays, and you get wide open looks like the one Steph Rymack got, where she was wide open, or the backdoor to, I think it was Karina Brown. So,
and that's exactly what Kevin loves, is easy baskets.
100%.
And one thing to look at this year, coming into this new season, Hunter Johns, the Brown sisters, both Karina and Carissa, as well as Monica Batnick, are 4 older, more aggressive, more seasoned players who all play similar positions of the forward, so the 3, 4, and 5s. With those kind of players and that kind of talent, Mohawk probably has one of the best, if not the best, I'm not afraid to say this, front court in the OCAA, so that they should be able to use their advantage every game. And as we've seen, they love to go inside. Throw in Jasmina Kusic, who we didn't know a whole lot about coming into this year and didn't have a lot of expectations of, being seemingly on that level as a shooter and clearly a provider down low. And that's one good thing, that albeit it hasn't sprung out at us yet in this afternoon's game.
Yeah, it's a lot more height to Mohawk than what we're used to seeing.
It is a lot more height and a lot more skill down low than we're used to seeing. Quick early basket, though, for Niagara out of the break.
And they're putting the press back on.
And now they have switched to a sort of half-hearted full court press. Shannon O'Neill up top, Rymack. Rymack driving into the hoop, trying to go up to the basket, and is denied. But a foul called, and she will get 2 shots. So for Mohawk, they've been to the line now for the 4th time. And as Rymack gets set for her first 2 free throws of the afternoon, we see that lineup, Johns, Batnick, and Kusic as the big 3 forwards, with Rymack and O'Neill as the guards. This is probably the most talented offensively 5 starters they'll have on the court at the same time. So Duffy trying to go with more of an offensive outlook here with the swapping off of the Brown sisters.
Yeah, it's probably because, he has the lead now and he doesn't want to lose that.
Murdoch down low. McPherson with a battling left-handed hook shot off the back iron. And now Batnick will find John. She'll try to run up the court. Finds Rymack, slowing it down a bit. Top, Batnick. She cuts in, tries to find Kusic. And it'll be 3-second violation on Jasmina Kusic.
Yeah, and you can see they ran down the court there and then they didn't set anything up. So I can see Duffy's talking to the bench right now about the movement, because they're going down there and they're not setting up the play, and then it's ending up in a turnover every time.
It seems to be half and half, that there's not any plays being set up, as well as a little bit of a rush from Mohawk to try and continue to run the court.
In Niagara, they're doing a better job at breaking through Mohawk's defense. As I say that, of course, Mohawk.
And as you say that, a turnover almost, but McPherson able to find Nacarado down low for an easy 2. And Niagara has brought it within 3 with under a minute to go in the first quarter here. Shannon O'Neill over half court to Rymack. They'll try and set something up here. Looking for a screen at the top. Quick 3 set off the front rim and out. Niagara able to grab the rebound. It's Brown. Hope Brown tried to squeak up the side and put a foot on the out-of-bounds line. And with 35.9 seconds to go in the first quarter, the Mountaineers will retain possession and have a fresh 24-second shot clock here to work with.
So let's see if they organize a play to kind of finish off this half in their possession.
O'Neill to Rymack. Rymack at the top. Quickly driving the paint, left-handed lay, and is good. Yeah. Wasn't maybe the best offensive possession or play call, but Rymack does it herself. Quickly back the other way, pressure on. And that is going to be a timeout. No, excuse me, the pressure forcing an
Forced her
out of bounds.
And that was, Steph kind of called that one. She saw that she was diving right for the corner, so she thought she's going to stick around and put some pressure on it. It worked in their favor.
Good play by Rymack and Batnick there to come together and force Nagu and Marshall out of bounds there. The last possession of the game. Shot clock off for this first quarter. 10 seconds to go. Rymack, Toppitz, Johns working on her defender, tried to find O'Neal off her second, and with just seconds left, O'Neal knocked out of bounds. We'll lose possession with 2.5 to play in the first quarter.
There wasn't a lot of movement from Mohawk there, and Niagara was playing really tough defense. So
we'll see if Niagara will get a shot off here to end the first quarter. Nagu and Marshall going for the long range. Down is McCabe. She's got a second to get it off. And it's travel with no time left in the first quarter. McCabe took about 3 or 4 steps possibly after she took that last dribble. I
thought that was kind of a weird setup for Mohawk to be like that for defense, because usually if the whole team's pulled up in the backcourt, someone's going to be running long, and that's exactly what they did.
Mohawk allowed them to get behind them, and there, as the ball is tipped off McPherson, the last 1/10 of a second will run off the clock, and the first quarter ends with Mohawk ahead 20-15, the Mountaineers leading by 5. And one thing to note, Sam Pockernick was making her return in this game after missing quite a bit of time last year, but still, somehow, with her very few games of action she did receive, was leading the team in points per game. Somehow hasn't really gotten a chance in this first quarter. We haven't seen a lot of her, so we'll look at her going forward and hopefully get a little more Sam Pockernick as we go on in this game. For now, we're going to take a second and throw it to Christine Midgley, who's in the corner, and Christine bringing her in for the first time in this game. What do you got for us, Miss Midgley?
Thanks, guys. It's great to be back so far this year. It's a new year. We've got a lot of new faces. Since last season, Mohawk has lost a lot of its most experienced players, but they're making up for it with a full team effort. According to Coach Duffy, he said that we could expect to see a really balanced team coming out on the court today, and that's exactly what we've seen so far in this quarter. There's not 1 or 2 players dominating the court, but rather all the ladies coming together, really controlling this game. Now, even though the Mountaineers are out front right now, it doesn't mean that Niagara's out for the count. These two teams are some of the most physically fit in the game, so it's really going to be a matter of endurance. Really, who can outlast the other team? Duffy says that physical fitness has been one of his main focuses with the girls so far this season, so we'll take a look and see if it's paid off. Nick, let's take it back to you for the second quarter.
Thanks, Christine. That was Christine Midgley, bringing her in for the first time this season. And as we were mentioning just prior, and as Christine just mentioned again, lots of new faces and returning faces like Sam's. Of course, this is a very early part in the game. We were only a quarter in, but we were hoping to see a little more of Pockernick, and I'm sure we will get a chance. And we haven't even quite seen yet a couple of the rookies like Spolstra and Datskew and Carter. But in that first quarter, lots of Kusick, lots of Johns, lots of Batnick, lots of O'Neal and Rymack.
Mohawk's basketball game, it's definitely a lot more height-focused than what we've seen in previous years, which has probably been a little bit of a shift for Duffy coaching. You coach a short, agile, more point guard-focused team, very different than you coach your posts. So I'm sure there's been a lot of play changes and just working the team differently, but Duffy's really good at adapting to that.
And as you say that, here comes Pockernick receiving the pass on her first time on court. The ball loose down low, ends up going to Rymack and will go off rim and out. Niagara will come back up the court. Ingrabelli. Down low, it's Nacarado losing it. And now O'Neal up ahead the court. Here's Pockernick, and she will get her first 2 of the game. And just like that, Sam getting right involved on her first time on court. And that's someone to keep an eye on. Pockernick led the team in the preseason as well as last year. And there, a travel prior to the shot being made by McCabe. That's her second straight travel.
And I was a little surprised to see Sam coming into this game so late, because we can see that she was a huge key in the last game against Niagara. In that final game, she scored 23 points. So you'd think that would be someone you'd want to have on the court when you're coming up against them again.
There she is again. Back to Rymack across O'Neal. O'Neal down low. Pockernick right to the rim, draws the foul. And just like that, she's touched the ball, I think, literally 3 times and already has a bucket and is going to the line for 2 free throws. So the impact is clear. And I don't know if it was something about maybe arrival time or just the way the game started, but she was not involved in the first quarter, but clearly will be involved the rest of the way as she makes the first of 2.
Yeah. Or you know what, maybe that's just their strategy. It gets Sam more fired up, you know, when you have to spend the quarter watching the game. And you go out there and, you know, she obviously is showing her worth now.
2 for 2 from the free throw line to start, so very good start for Pockernick. McCabe across to Murdoch. Niagara trying to stay in this game, but the offense has faltered the last few times down court. McCabe looks for the shot, up fake, drives the basket, makes it.
That was a great drive. She went through 3 of our Mohawk girls.
And she is not giving an inch. And of course, Alyssa McCabe did lead them with 15 points in their first game win over Sheridan, 77-47. Last week on October 21st in that Friday night match for Niagara.
And she's a good all-around player too. I know she's a good shooter usually, and then she also has that drive.
And what a move by Jasmina Kusik. The up fake to the right and just swings around the last defender in the post. Very James Harden-like. An easy bucket for the lengthy forward. And there's a nice move by Murdoch. Some wanted a carry, but the rebound put home by McPherson. And Niagara trying to keep in this one. The score now 26-19 for Mohawk.
Yeah, they're still there, you know, like Mohawk gets a couple baskets, Niagara gets a couple, but Niagara's going to have to go on a run if they want to get this game back under control.
Pockernick, top of the key, Kusik. Down low, Brown, Carissa misses. Pockernick grabs the offensive board, but her shot misses. And there's Brown battling for the loose ball, and they are going to make the call that it will be Mohawk ball as possession remains in their favor.
I thought that looked like a jump ball.
And it looked like a jump ball, but we will get a foul called, actually.
Look like that can sometimes be a strategy. Karina kind of twisted her body, and it brought Niagara over her shoulder. So if you don't let go of the ball, that's a foul, right?
So substitutions finishing up for Mohawk.
Have both the Brown twins on.
Carissa and Karina both back on the court. Here's Pockernick receiving it from Carissa. Now moving, cutting through, drops it off. O'Neal, long-range triple, off back iron, pops out. But there, Carissa to the top. O'Neal.
Looks like the shot clock's still winding down for them.
And the shot clock did not reset.
Yeah.
And then she stepped on the back line as she was cutting across the baseline, Pockernick, and will turn the ball over for Mohawk. 7-point deficit for Niagara. Still very much in this game with 7:30 to play here, first half. McCabe off the screen, driving through. Great set right there from Karina Brown, but unfortunately the call still made, and McCabe will go to the line shooting 2. And it looked like Karina got her feet set and was in front, but not agreeing is the referee.
McCabe, she's done that a couple times now. If she gets by her first defender, she's most likely going to drive.
And it's something for Mohawk to keep an eye on. McCabe, pretty much a slashing point guard right now, or 2 guard if you would like to say. So got to keep an eye on her. She's used a lot of up fakes to get people to get off their feet and moving on her.
No, I think that's just her reading the defense well as well. When Mohawk's playing that type of defense, it almost it becomes a little bit easier to get by that first defender.
And she has used the up fake to her advantage in this first half for sure. Carissa Brown. Now to O'Neal. Some pressure from Niagara. Not too much, but keeping up on the ball.
And the shot clock's winding down to 8 seconds now.
Puts it up under pressure, and Karina Brown with her first 2 of the year will love that.
Yeah, it was a great finish. She looked a little bit unbalanced there, but the finish was there.
Nguyen Marshall driving up fake, and then she traveled, and I don't necessarily agree with the call.
The refs are kind of all over on those travels, yeah.
And that didn't look like her foot moved much, so a bit of an aggressive call on that travel, because I think
yeah, the Niagara coach isn't too happy about that
and
call.
You can hear it from Mr. Michael Beccaria at Niagara College, letting the referee understand that those kind of calls a little bit ridiculous. There's a quick jump shot from Johns from a couple feet off the baseline.
Nice
now turnover
by
in the down end, and Shannon took her eye off the ball for a second to look up at Sam, and as she did she lost it out of bounds.
We're seeing both teams are very hungry, though. They're both keeping the full court pressure, which we talked about. Both these teams are very fit. For you to be able to put that full court pressure on for the whole game, we're going to have to see if they're both going to continue that into the second half as well.
And we'll see 2 substitutions. Shannon O'Neill and Karina Brown will come off. Monica Batnick and Jasmina Kusik, who the rookie has been a huge part of this game in the first matchup today. Nguyen Marshall working on Pockernick. Down low, McPherson. Great little pass, but it's picked away. Carissa Brown ripping it out of the hands of the Niagara College forward, Kim Shepard. Now back to the top. Carissa Brown shot off a fingertip, fell short. Kusik on the baseline to Pockernick. Quick 2, drills it. And Sam has not missed a shot yet. McCabe. Alyssa McCabe coming forward, trying to keep Niagara in it. Driving the hoop. Quickly underneath to Hope Brown, but her shot way too strong off the backboard. Kusik under pressure to Carissa Brown under pressure, and still finding a way to get the ball up court. But the throw from Batnick too far. Johns picks up the loose ball though. Here's Johns cutting inside with a left hand, and it will not count on the travel. Took an extra step, they say, going into the middle, and the referees have had quite a lot of travels to call in this game, and for the last 3 or 4, regardless of team, they have seemed a little questionable. There, I didn't see an extra step. There's a lot of body contact.
That's what it looked like to me.
And I feel like a lot of the body contact has led to what we see as travels, but not necessarily so. Some interesting calls from the referees in today's game thus far.
But that's something that can really throw off a player's mentality, but you just got to keep playing and, you know, adjust your game to what the ref's calling. Ingrabelli with the long miss off the tips of McPherson. Back the other way. Rymack to Johns, cutting to the hoop. Couldn't get it. Kusik grabs the board, goes strong up with it. Falling away, could not get it to go. Nguyen Marshall rushing up court. Stops her dribble. Quickly across to Hope Brown. Now cutting to the hoop. Her pass off a pair of fingers of Kusik and out of bounds. Just 5:18 to go here in the first half. And I think having these bigger posts like Johns and Batnick and Kusik allows the point guards to be a little bit more risky when it comes to their defense up high, because they know that they have those bigs down low to kind of back them up.
And what a fading shot from the left hand.
Great move
by Mary Ingrabelli, able to hit for Niagara, and suddenly it's a 7-point game. Still very close, even though it hasn't felt that way for most of it, but there's a pick from McCabe. Pockernick looking a little lackadaisical in the center of the court, and a stop and pop from McCabe. And instead, we will get a foul, a reach in there.
No, I think they called it travel.
Excuse me, no, another travel call.
Another travel.
I thought it was a hand on the forearm there and 2 shots, but instead another travel call. And
Hunter
the referees
Johns
have been all over that today. There, Hunter Johns going up strong. No foul called, just knocked out of bounds.
She's been playing very aggressive today. She's done a lot of driving, and she's had some good moves.
And that's exactly what Duffy needs from his big players, who really, maybe not technically outsizing by much the Niagara College team, but outsizing themselves from past versions of Mohawk. There's a good range, long-range triple from the corner. Or excuse me, it will be a long-range 2, they'll call it.
And Batnick, she's very fun to watch because she has such a great 3-point shot, but then she also has the body to, you know, help out with rebounds and do those post works.
And Ingrabelli went to dribble after grabbing the rebound, and because of the jump ball possession from Mohawk, and the Mountaineers will take it out from the baseline. 9-point lead with just 4.5 to play in the first half. Kusik to O'Neill. O'Neill down low off the fingertips and out of bounds.
A little bit of a force.
And it's not that they've necessarily been attempting to get to the rack on every play, but the drives to the hoop have been a 95% consistency on every possession.
A lot more than what we're used to seeing from Mohawk.
And this is a team that last year shot a lot from the outside.
100%. I think there's a different team dynamic. You know, when you have Steph Rymack and Jen Genabella and Shannon O'Neill, they're all very good 3-point shooters. So when you have those girls out there, that's what you want to be using. But we're seeing a lot more height and a lot more inside work done by the Mohawk girls.
And as we said that, Shannon missed a long-range 3, and now back the other way, Niagara. And Shannon O'Neill getting her hand in against Hope Brown. And from what we can see, I believe it's going to be Niagara ball on the baseline here after the foul from Shannon. And like you said, a bigger team down low means a different style of offense as well and different choices, and they've clearly tried to use that to their advantage under the hoop. Niagara doing much of the same, has continued to bring the ball to the net quite a bit, not
And
relying
they've
on
been
the
doing a
outside
good job
jumper.
of getting Mohawk off their feet. They're doing a lot of fakes, and they're able to get that by that first defender, but Mohawk's really packing the defense in, and they're still not getting the best looks.
And the up fakes have worked pretty well for Niagara thus far tonight. But one thing that I'm sure Michael will be very happy with is the fact that they have not settled for the outside jumper, something you can't do against Mohawk College with as good a team they are offensively and defensively. Kusick here, though, after stealing the ball, turns it back over to Owuku. And I believe they're going to give possession to Niagara College after that fighting.
Yeah, we've seen a couple more scrappy plays. I think the teams are getting, there's a little bit more tension as we get closer to this
there
half.
in the middle of the court, but with 3:53 to play and a 9-point lead for Mohawk, the game has definitely slowed down most recently. Nguyen Marshall, long range three off front rim. Now McPherson tips it to Ingrabelli. Ingrabelli to Owuku. Working back to Ingrabelli. And she unfortunately is called on the travel for taking that extra step before. And that one was a good call, but one of the many travels we've seen in this game. Too many to count in the first half. Rymack to Batnick. Kusick. Top of the key, Shannon O'Neill
shot
for three, off back iron, pops
She's
out.
had two of those now off that back.
McPherson losing the grip on the ball. It pops out of her hands. And there's going to be an inbound for Niagara College from their own
calling
baseline.
A foul.
And I believe they're going to call that foul.
Seen
exactly.
some interesting calls this game.
And
that looked a lot more like a
jump
jump
most
ball
consistent
today.
either, which has been one of the issues. No real consistency on the calls. Unless you move your feet, you're definitely getting called for a travel for even a flinch, it seems like, in this game. Owuku up court. Works on Rymack. She wants it. She'll hand it off, though, to Ingrabelli. Looks back to her.
We're seeing great
Now
on-ball defense from Mohawk. Niagara, shot clock winding down.
And drilling the three, Nguyen Marshall. Rymack up the court. Long range feed. Looks for Pockernick. Maybe it was Karina Brown, and the two of them couldn't decide, so neither of them get to it. And now Niagara can come back down just 6. Under 3 to play in the first half. Nguyen Marshall feeling it. She'll launch again from 3, and off the front rim, was very close to hitting once again. McPherson to Nguyen Marshall. Now to Ingrabelli. She'll launch a 3 and hits. And suddenly Niagara, 6 points in the last 2 possessions.
That's something, it can change really fast. So if Niagara starts feeling their shot, and Mohawk could be in trouble for their runs.
Mohawk need to figure out some offense right now. They've had a few trips now without a score. Pockernick
it's a little stagnant.
with the
We're
ball.
not seeing a lot of movement.
And there's a kick ball from McCabe. But like you said, very little movement right now from the Mohawk offense. They haven't looked all that comfortable or confident with the basketball in the last 4 or 5 possessions. And that has got to be a bit of a worry, considering that a few of Niagara's main starters are not on the court as well.
And
we're going to see our first view of Callie Strongman, one of the rookies from Guelph, Ontario, making her debut. Her inbound to Steph Rymack. Steph trying to work it from the top. See if Mohawk can push up this 3-point lead, which has been brought back quite a bit by Niagara College.
5 seconds on the
Pockernick
shot.
tried to turn and shoot, and unfortunately somehow called again. And this time they're going to say an offensive push-off with the wraparound move she used by her hands. A very interesting call. It didn't seem like too much there.
I think the refs are kind of trying to control the physical game, because both these teams, they can get very physical, so I think they're calling those.
And as you say that, no physical play there, no body laid on Nguyen Marshall, with an easy 2-hand lay, and there's a quick pass towards the sidelines, and it's going to be Mohawk ball, but very good attempt there from Alyssa McCabe, nearly able to knock that one off of the Mohawk player and out. Strongman will take the ball out from the baseline here, or excuse me, the sideline. right in front of us to our left. Strongman off the fingertips of Brown. Now Brown coming forward off the steal. Brown with the left hand drives into Rymack, and there's going to be no call. Surprisingly,
Steph just stole that.
Steph took the ball but then lost it out of bounds on the hit she took.
And see, now that's a call that I expect the refs to call.
I was going to say, there's been quite a few calls when you didn't expect anything, and then that happens, and the most contact we've seen in the game on one play, and it's a complete nothing call.
Yeah.
So very interesting what the referees have chosen thus far in this first half.
It looks like we're going to be finishing this half very, very tight. See if Niagara's able to pull out on top.
And there's a little handoff three for Inglebelly. Niagara can take their first lead since the first minutes of the game. They're up now by 2, 34-32,
and this
with
is
a minute and a half to
this is
go.
an important spot. You want to be the team that finishes the half on top.
Strongman down low, quickly goes up for 2 and does not get it. Kusick went for the tip and could only knock it out of bounds. So a minute 23 to go. Niagara have a 2-point lead. First lead, as we mentioned, for the first couple minutes of the game when they were up 4-0. Awuku driving right hand lane, too strong. McPherson grabs the board. They swing it around. Out Ingrabelli for 3 again. Off iron and out. And it'll be tipped away, and it will be Mohawk ball. Very close there.
And Mohawk, they're looking a little bit frustrated. I can hear, we have Niagara sitting next to us, and we can hear the louder
and
team
you can
for
see
sure
Mohawk
right now.
very quiet on the bench, and the stands very quiet. Most of the people making any noise in the stands have been the Niagara College men's basketball team sitting
they're
here
pumped
watching
up right
the
now.
women's team.
Exactly.
Rymack to Pockenik. Now under a minute to go in the first half of this season opener and home opener for the Mohawk Mountaineers. Rymack takes the pass down low, but it's off rim.
Yeah, the pass was a little bit late. Steph was, if she guarded the ball a little bit earlier, I think it would have been an easier
McCabe
attack
knocked
for her.
loose. Pockenik back the other way. 2-on-1 break with Rymack. She looks right to the rim, and she doesn't get the call. Off the hand of the Niagara defender, Awuku, and with 42 seconds to play and 18 on the shot clock, it'll be Mohawk ball from the baseline.
And that's like a hard call when you're driving down. You have your teammate on that side, and it's whether you pass it over and let Steph try and finish it or whether you go for that foul. And unfortunately, she didn't get the foul on that one.
And I agree with you, though. Good play that she went at least to go up strong with it, although didn't earn a foul call there either. Little inbound, quick pass. Strongman gets it right back under the hoop, though. Her shot, nothing on it. Could not get it to the rim, unfortunately. But it goes off a Niagara defender and out of bounds. So Mohawk went down 12 seconds on the shot clock and 37.8 left. And we will see Strongman coming out and Batnick coming in to make the inbounds here. Rymack, Pockernick, Batnick making the inbounds, Kusick and Karina Brown on the court for Mohawk for these last just over half a minute in the first half. Batnick, Rymack from beyond the arc, looking. Up to the top of the key, under 10 on the shot clock. Looking back. Here's Brown inside, went up strong and draws the foul. 30 seconds exactly remaining in the first half of play. So, going to the line is Karina Brown. And she will make the first, bringing the lead within 1.
And she's in her last year of eligibility playing, so she's definitely our strongest veteran. She's been around playing Mohawk basketball for 5 years.
And she'll make both, so we are even with 30 seconds to play in the first half. Ball inbounded and brought up the court. Nakarado back to Awuku. Slowly ahead. Trying to waste some time off this clock, I imagine. Ingrabelli driving with the right hand, goes up and makes the shot off balance. Under 15 seconds left. Shot clock off. Rymack rushing up court off the hand of a defender. And with just 10.9 to play, Mohawk will have one last chance here to either tie or take a lead going into the end of the half. 10.9 seconds left.
It's been an interesting game so far.
Batnick inbounding. Rymack, long range 3, drills it! 1 point lead
and that's
for
what we're
Mohawk.
talking about. She's such a great all-around player, so there's showing off her shooting a little bit.
McCabe outside, Ingrabelli didn't get it off in time. She drilled it. And did she get it off in time right now? She did not, they say. And I believe it will be Mohawk lead
Mohawk's
by
on
1
top.
at the half, 37-36. She was just seconds away from drilling that shot and giving Niagara a lead right back. But What a finish to the half. Steph Rymack able to make an important three-pointer and put Mohawk back out in front. And without that, we'd be talking about a deficit at halftime, which was something that we didn't expect, and I'm sure Coach Kevin Duffy had no expectancy of. And one of the things we've noticed coming out of that first half of play is Niagara definitely confident to shoot the three with a few players such as Mary Ingrabelli, as well as Brooklyn Murdoch and Alyssa McCabe. But aside from that, what we've seen is a pretty good first half of basketball for Mohawk Mountaineers. And as they lead by 1 going into the half, that is it. We will see you around the break when we come back with the second half of action here on Emily. Welcome back to Mohawk Mountaineers basketball on Emily. As we bring you into this OCAA 2016-17 season opener, take a look at the highlights from the first half. Some of the long-range snapshots, including what was the final and only 3 of the entire first half made by Mohawk by Steph Rymack that has them, as we double-checked, still ahead by 1. The Niagara three-pointer at the end by Ingrabelli did not count.
And I think that's a play that we're kind of missing from Mohawk. They're usually very strong three-point shooters, and that's why they're usually so hard to beat, because they have that inside game and also that outside game, and I don't feel like we've seen that outside game as much as we usually do.
No, we have not, but as we start and get underway here in the second half of play, Shannon O'Neill inbounds, and Rymack will go to Kusick on the outside. Now to Batnick at the top, and we start with a long-range 3 that's off iron and out. So as you mentioned, Sadie, one thing to keep an eye on, we see a little more of the long-range game from Mohawk, but there's Ingrabelli launching a 3 off the rim and out, and a battle. And Rymack going down hard and not coming out easy, and she looks to the bench immediately for a substitution. Something going awry there with the left arm. Might have gotten it twisted up. And she's going to head off to the side. Brooklyn Murdoch was the one she was tangled up with from Niagara College, and we're going to see
like
Sam Pockernick come into the game quickly, and we'll get a little update on Steph when we get a chance as she goes off for the time being. Niagara to inbounds from down low on the baseline. Ingrabelli to Nacarado. Nacarado looking under pressure, loses the ball in the middle of the court.
Good pass up, Sam.
Pockernick on the run. Fading shot off rim and out, and the rebound put up and off the backboard and out from Kusick. But it will go to Niagara off the miss and the tip out of bounds.
And we've seen a lot of turnovers so far in this game. Looking at the stat sheet, it was pretty even on both sides, which we had noticed. 16 turnovers for Mohawk and 15 for Niagara so far in this game.
And now quite a few of those still have been the traveling calls that we did see, which are a lot in that first half, but 31 turnovers across both teams in a half of play. Too many. Both coaches would agree.
Yeah, that's not a double stat you want to be seeing.
And unfortunately for Mohawk, McPherson able to go in hard, and not a hard enough foul there on McPherson, and she makes an easy bucket and will go to the line for a third. Niagara back out in front now, first lead of the second half, and first points from either side here in the early going of this third quarter. And McPherson misses the opportunity to create a three-point play. So Niagara only ahead 1. Kusick
Good
to
swing.
O'Neill across. A 3 from Pockernick off the backboard and rim. And no finish there. Down low Kusick, handoff Pockernick, tries
Nice
again
finish.
and gets the lay-in to go with the right hand.
And it was a good reach for Pockernick. She had her arm, really extended away from the defense and was able to just lay it up nicely.
So Murdoch comes forward for Niagara College right now. Spinning, looking, still unable to find someone, finds McCabe down low. Spins with her back to the basket. It makes a good fading shot with the right hand.
McCabe, she's sitting at 8 points now for her game. She's had a really good inside game. We haven't seen a lot of shooting from her, but she's done a good job of getting to the net for Niagara.
Ball loose for a second there, picked up by Pockernick. Back to Johns, cuts through to the rim and puts it in.
She cut right down the middle there. There was no Niagara defenders on her.
And that's what Kevin Duffy will want to see a lot more of in the second half. Getting back to that drive towards the net, but better passing to set it up. Here's Niagara. Almost losing the ball at the top of the key, and then a block there from Batnick against Ingrabelli. Batnick carries it forward, works on Ingrabelli. Nice little move on the crossover dribble, and drills the short jumper. Great play all around from defensive end to the offensive end from Monica Batnick. Unfortunately, though, Niagara coming right back, and an easy finish down low from Courtney McPherson will put them back down 1. Shannon O'Neill back up the court. Hunter Johns going to her left. A little feed pass for Kusick, who took a shot from behind, but there's no call on the play. And it will be Niagara ball inbounding from their own baseline underneath their own basket. And Nguyen Marshall will be the one to inbound, and we saw Nguyen Marshall surprise, a first-year player with 8 points in the first half. Very unexpected from Niagara for her to get on the score sheet as much as she did. There's Ingrabelli launching another long-range triple that is off iron and out. She has not been able to find one in this half yet. Batnick the other way, finding Kusick right to the net with a great finish. And as you said, a little give and go play.
She's leading the points right now for Mohawk, so she's at 9 points.
A very good first game from Kusick, and there, unfortunately, a travel from Mary Ingrabelli for Niagara College that will be a turnover in possession. She will be subbed off, and Awuku will be brought back on for Niagara College. Meanwhile, Hunter Johns coming off to the sideline, and joining O'Neill, Pockernick, Batnick, and Kusick on the court now is Karina Brown, the veteran. Karina in her 5th year and final year with Mohawk. Here's a turn and shot from Brown, and it will not go in. The rebound, though, put home from Kusick, who raises herself into double digits now, leading Mohawk with 11 points.
She's also leading Mohawk for her rebound. She was at 5 before the half.
On her way to a double-double in her first ever game in OCAA collegiate basketball.
Good defense from Mohawk. They're really putting the pressure on.
And there is, Murdoch taking a shot down low from Karina Brown as she went up. And that will be inbounded from the baseline for Niagara College on the offensive end now.
They don't have much time left on the shot clock, so they have 6 seconds to get a shot off.
Got to be a quick play from the inbounds here. And one person to keep an eye on, Nguyen Marshall over there outside the three-point line. Can't let her get loose here, but instead it's Murdoch who dribbled the ball and lost it for a second. By the way, they reset the shot clock to 14, so our apologies. They had more time than it seemed. Brown down the other way quickly. Pockernick went up and lost the handle on it off of Niagara College, so Mohawk will remain possession. Rymack coming back into the game since her injury as she looks okay. Carissa Brown will also return to the court, and we will see Shannon O'Neill and Monica Batnick get a rest. Ball inbounded by Karina Brown.
Carissa.
Or excuse me, Carissa Brown. Got the wrong one.
Hard to tell
there.
sometimes.
Down low, there is Carissa. Or Karina, excuse me. Getting them mixed up all over the place, but they were not able to finish regardless. McCabe down the court,
All by
Awuku quickly,
herself.
all by herself under the basket for an easy 2, and Niagara now have cut the deficit back down to just 3. Under 6 to play in the third quarter. Rymack returning to the court after her injury earlier in this quarter.
It looks like both teams are holding off on the pressure
Kusick
more
at the
so
top.
than their first half.
Pockernick to Rymack, back to Pockernick. And her pass there off a hand, and then the pass from Kusick off a hand and out of bounds.
Seeing a little scrambled play. There's only 5 seconds left on the clock, so Mohawk will have to do something quick.
We'll need a quick play here from the Mountaineers. Inbounded from one Brown to the other. Quick shot does not come off. Niagara with the steal the other way. Awuku working on Rymack all by herself. Lost control of it, but goes up and makes
Good
it.
finish.
And it's a 1-point game now.
Mohawk's looking a little relaxed coming out of the change room after the half.
Hasn't been
Not
a very
seeing the
good
same
start.
aggression.
By the way, it's Rymack trying to go up with it, lost the ball to McCabe there, down low, and then a little battle underneath and a jump ball, so possession remaining in Mohawk's favor, I should say. One thing to keep in mind is that they came out, they had Sam on the floor in their starting 5, if you would like to say, and they've kind of had to arrange swapping in Batnick and Johns and Kusick, and have not kept them three, the big forwards, on the court like they did in the first half. So a little bit of a different look as well from the Mountaineers to start the second half.
I think, well, it is the first game of the season as well, so it is that time to switch out players and see who's going to work well together and, I guess, find the new key players.
And Hunter Johns went up and got fouled on the forearm there. She took her hook shot. So she'll be going to line for 2. And we'll see a substitution as Mary Ingrabelli will come on for Brooklyn Murdoch in just a second after the first free throw. First shot off rim and out from Hunter Johns. So Johns able to make the second of 2 as we'll see a couple substitutions for either end. Murdoch coming off and Ingrabelli coming back in. Ball brought ahead by Nguyen Marshall. Marshall, corner of Wuku, and there we see a push off, and it'll be ball to the side for Niagara. Unfortunately, it was Rymack who's getting called on it, and she has looked okay since returning from her earlier injury to start the third quarter. 4:44 to play here in the third from the David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center on Mohawk College campus. 48-46, the Mountaineers lead as that ball put up and blocked away on the drive from Ingrabelli. So Niagara will take it from the baseline with just 10 to go on the shot clock. Hope Brown working on Pockernick, going to the rim, put it up, did not touch the rim, so the shot clock's still coming down, and there's a giveaway from McPherson. Back the other way,
nice
Rymack
move.
on the move to the basket,
All
got
the
it.
way.
Steph Rymack makes it look easy.
She's a fast player. She just weaved through, 3 Niagara defenders to get down there.
Nguyen Marshall up top, McPherson inside, battled hard by
hard
Brown,
foul.
and a good hard foul by Karina Brown, the veteran, not allowing any scoring there to happen. It'll be an easy 2, but not with Brown around. And McPherson will now go to the line for 2.
And the scary thing about this type of game is we saw Niagara fire off 3 three-pointers right in a row, so you can't feel comfortable with even this little lead from Mohawk's end.
And as the first is missed from McPherson, I have to agree. The fact that Niagara has shown more of an ability to pop up and kind of surprise with the long-range game, something Mohawk has not done almost at all tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Mohawk's feeling too comfortable, even though they are in the lead right now.
There's a second straight miss, though. Back the other way. It's
nice pass.
Brown inside, and Rymack's left-handed lane does not go. And unfortunately, as it was touched by Karina, they say her foot was on the baseline, so Niagara ball on the out of bounds.
You can see Steph's a little frustrated. She's not one to usually miss those easy buckets.
And Karina will be subbed off for Jasmina Kusick entering the ballgame again, while Nguyen Marshall and Courtney McPherson come off. And we will see Julia Seymour enter, and Emily Nacarado return to the court to join Ingrabelli, Awuku, and Hope Brown for Niagara College. Awuku under double pressure. Ball comes loose. Julia Seymour lost it. Carissa Brown on the move. Sam Pockernick underneath, hit hard as she went up for 2 by Awuku. Good foul. Good take up to the rim by Sam Pockernick. And that's one thing from Sam that we expected. She is one of the best scorers, has a great shot, but she's also, for a girl who's not exactly the most tallest or strongest, has a very good slash to the hoop.
Yeah, no, she definitely goes in with confidence, and I think she has the good little moves and knows how to keep the ball away from her defender.
And she makes the first look very easy as the lead up to 5 right now. The most it's really been in this second half. Been a very back and forth start, and with just under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. Mohawk retaining this lead as it's now 52-46 as Pockernick makes both free throws. And that quick pass intercepted. Now Brown taking it to the rim, looking for a foul, does not get it, follows it up, misses again. Kusick, Rymack, into Johns down the middle of the paint. No, rebound, and Johns swarmed by Awuku.
You can see Niagara was getting frustrated there. That was like 4 or 5 attempts that Niagara had no board.
Rebounds there for them. And Niagara getting frustrated, as you said, with the fact they could not come up with a single rebound there to stop that possession for Mohawk after 3 or 4 missed opportunities. Hunter Johns will go to the line, and I believe there'll be no substitution coming from Duffy. He just seemed like he wanted a moment with Sam off to the side. Thought he was pulling her off, but just a word of advice. And I think Kevin has got to be pretty pleased with the defensive style of game that they've played, considering Niagara still under 50 points as we near the end of the third quarter. But like we've mentioned multiple times in the game, he's looked a little heated about the way that the offense has been run and how they've decided to go about the offensive scheme of things on occasional
there's definitely
possessions.
a lot of growing still to do on the offensive end. I think it's good that their defense is strong, though, because it's something that they can go back to and, you know, play hard, at least get the turnovers, and hopefully the buckets will come easier after that point.
And after the shot was missed by Johns, 1 of 2, Pockernick was allowed to take a technical foul shot, and now Mohawk retains possession following that. And now their lead bumped up to 9, 55-46 after those 2 free throws out of 3 made. Rymack on the pass, gets a push in the back from Hope Brown on her way to the hoop as 15s come together there. And she will go to the line as well now for 2. Or excuse me, no, they're gonna actually have her inbound. She did not get off a shot. They say she was not on her way up. So it'll be an inbounds from the baseline with 18 on the shot clock for Mohawk. Down low, Kusick off the inbounds. Great turnaround fade.
And she had 2 girls standing straight up right in front of her, and she just faded away a little bit. It was a great finish.
She has definitely shown the ability to finish down underneath the rack tonight. Turnover again from Niagara College, and Hunter Johns will start away with it. Steph Rymack with time at the top. Surveying. Finds Brown on the swing to the corner. Brown back up top, Johns. Now Pockernick looking for Brown down low, and a leaning shot off back rim and out. Pockernick down low, grabs the board and is fouled, I believe. No, they're going to say a jump ball.
Like you
said,
said,
weird call there.
Yeah, we're not seeing much consistency.
A lack of consistency from the referees in today's game, and not that they've been really bad on either end or been a little favorable to either side either, but just inconsistent, like you said, not always making what seems to be the right calls. But Niagara will inbounds from the touch line here. Murdoch to Marshall. McCabe working forward. McCabe into the paint. Quick shot with the right hand off, ironing out. Rymack under pressure, bump, no call. Gets it still forward to Kusick, now to Johns. Johns to Pockernick, driving the rim, but she missed it short off the front rim there on her lay, and now Marshall the other way to McCabe. McCabe cuts to the basket. Great up and under move, and what a finish.
Yeah, we've seen she's been very aggressive to the net. She's been a huge key for Niagara staying in this game right now.
And without Alyssa McCabe, we don't know if they would still be within the 10-point margin they pretty much have remained within the last few minutes. 9-point lead for Mohawk, and off the hands of Jasmina Kusick and out of bounds. So that 9-point lead remains. And Mohawk College will drop back to a half-court set, up 9. And Niagara inbounding here with just 2 minutes roughly to play in the third quarter. McCabe working from the center on Pockernick, down to the left side. At the top, it's Ingrabelli. Working on Batnick to the right. Dishes off. Nguyen Marshall from the corner. Fakes. Down low. Pass for Ingrabelli. Picked by Rymack. Up ahead, it's Pockernick. She'll stop and pop, and she will miss off front rim, but O'Neal will tip the rebound to Kusick. Now to Rymack. Thought about it. Gives off to Pockernick. Now to Rymack.
9 seconds on the shot clock.
Rymack to O'Neal. O'Neal. Batnick. Off front rim with the shot clock expiring. Now Kusick puts up a rebound, no good. Rebound again and makes it.
And she was just over all the Niagara
will force a
defenders
timeout
there.
from Michael Beccaria and Niagara College, who are not going to actually call the timeout. They will let it go forward, and Nguyen Marshall misses the 3. Shannon O'Neal now bringing it forward.
And I think now we're seeing...
And O'Neal fouled as she brings forward the ball up court.
I think we're seeing a leg in
shots.
Niagara's endurance. It looks like
And we're gonna
Mohawk's
see a
beating them down
timeout.
the floor a lot more than earlier in the game. We talked about how both these teams are really fit and they put the pressure on for most of the game, but it kind of looks like Mohawk's out hustling them at this point.
And with that, a timeout from Niagara College and a minute 12 to go in the third quarter. 59-48, the Mountaineers lead by 11 currently and have pushed it to their biggest lead in the ball game at this point. And it has been, as you said, a lack of effort, it seems, on the rebounds. A lot more effort being put forward by Mohawk in comparison to Niagara College when it comes to the glass. And we've seen girls like Jasmina Kusik just take right advantage of that, as well as Hunter Johns and Monica Batnick. And like we said, they have probably the best front court in the OCAA, and they put it to good use this afternoon.
Yeah, they're getting those second and third opportunities that we're just not seeing Niagara get. So second and third opportunities have a huge play in the fact that Mohawk is up by more than 10 points at this point.
As we take a look at Michael Beccaria, head coach of Niagara College Knights, and Kevin Duffy, the head coach of the Mohawk Mountaineers. Both these teams not exactly have found themselves on the offensive end too often, in successful possessions at least. And for Niagara, the three-pointer that was there for them right at the end of the second quarter and gave them that little boost has not arrived or returned here in the third quarter thus far. And that has been a bit of a problem for them. So with that, they need to figure out if they're going to be able to slash and get to the basket more often, or we could see Mohawk really start to pull away with this game, as O'Neill buries the first of two free throws. And O'Neill, burying both from the free throw line, takes a 13-point lead. Nguyen Marshall up the left side, working on Rymack. And we are going to see a call now down low on Jasmina Kusik for the hold on Courtney McPherson. And with that, two free shots from McPherson from the free throw line for Niagara College. A minute to go in the third quarter. And as McPherson makes the second free throw and cuts the deficit to 61-50, we'll see a substitution, Jasmina Kusik coming off and Hunter Johns returning to the court. Shannon O'Neill inbounds from the baseline for Mohawk. Batnick back to O'Neill. She drives forward. O'Neill into Johns. Quickly outside to Pachernik for three, well short. Might have hit the hand of the defender in front of her, but O'Neill able to win the ball down low free, and then taking some body, no call. Johns will kick it out to Rymack.
Duffy's calling a reset, you know.
And as they try to reset, Johns turns around, finds O'Neill with a three off iron and out. And Niagara College can work forward. Marshall up court to a wide open Ingrabelli who missed the pass. Wasn't the best of passes either.
No. It's a little too close to her ankles for her to grab that while she's running.
And that turnover, one of the many we've seen from either team this afternoon. It's been a bit of a sloppy game. Definitely started a lot more sloppy than the second half has been. 25 seconds left as Mohawk brings it forward for at least one last possession for them offensively here in the third quarter. O'Neill working to the corner, Pachernik.
Oh, and the pass was there to Steph and she didn't get it off.
And after that, a turnover to McCabe, back the other way with under 10 seconds. She'll get it up. No foul called. Michael Beccaria can't believe it on the slap on the hand, which was heard but not seen by the referee clearly. Part of the many inconsistent calls in this ball game. Just 5 seconds ago, they inbound it. Last shot coming here. Brown, with just a second ago, puts it up, and it's out off rim. And we will come to the end of the third quarter with the Mountaineers ahead 61-50 with their biggest lead in the game at 11 points intact as we go to the fourth quarter of play. And Niagara College not happy whatsoever with the calls on the court down low going against them offensively and defensively right now. They have not gotten much help. And as for Mohawk College, a much more improved second half, at least to start, And
I
for
still
Kevin
don't think
Duffy,
the
he's got to be
coaches
happy.
are. I don't think he is happy. Though,
Well, it
probably
takes a
knowing
lot
him.
to make Kevin Duffy happy. We'll say that.
A gold medal at the end of the season will make Duffy happy. But I think at this point, it's still very sloppy basketball, which I'm sure he expects. It's a lot of new teammates that you're trying to get to mesh together. But I think, on both sides, we've had good points, and on both sides, we've had kind of bad plays. So defense on both ends, I think, has been fairly strong. But I think as we near the closer end of the game, it's starting to slow down a little bit. We're not seeing as much aggressive defense as we did in the first half.
And when you think about the fact that the coaches have been pretty animated in this game. It is the first game for Mohawk and only the second for Niagara, so a lot of kinks, like you've mentioned multiple times, have to be worked out of these teams. The teams are playing together, some players for the first time or second time in their life. So this is new and still a fresh system for some people on both sides, and I've been able to experience a little more, let's just call it stressed or anxiety-able coaching from both sides, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that if you're Michael Beccaria or if you're Kevin Duffy, through 3 quarters, the defense has been better than the offense. And that's one thing that we've kept saying. It's been a little bit sloppy, the possessions offensively. And as we go into the fourth quarter, I'm sure, as you said, Duffy not the most pleased and won't be pleased till he gets that end result. But through 3 quarters, the defense good, the offense so-so. I'm sure we'll be looking to see an improved offensive possessions consistency-wise.
It's kind of a unique situation as well because these two teams came up against each other just a week ago. So I'm sure both coaches had high expectations for this game because they have probably been working on what went wrong in the last game and knowing what they needed to stop. And I'm sure some of those things maybe they improved upon, but other things still need some work.
And as we start the fourth quarter here, with Mohawk inbounding from center court with Shannon O'Neill. Mohawk were winners in that first meeting, 84-78. They were down 16 points at half. In this one, they were up by 1 at halftime. They lead by 11 at the end of 3 and hopefully are well on their way to finishing off a first win in their season and home opener. Monica Batnick driving the hoop, earning the foul, though. Another travel called. They say she did not get the ball down on that first step, and so the second became the first, and therefore travel called once more on one of these two sides. Ball brought to center and turned over again, this time by Niagara. Now it's Shannon O'Neill looking for Rymack and unable to accept the pass on the run underneath the basket with Steph. Niagara opening up with McCabe, Nguyen, Marshall, Murdoch, McPherson, and Brown on the court. Turnover again. Batnick able to steal it. Now Johns to Rymack, as well as Pockernick and O'Neill on the court for Mohawk. And O'Neill launching from the corner, drills a 3
That's
to
her
start.
spot. She's someone who excels on her baseline threes.
And they are actually going to call that a 2, say foot was on the line from the corner. So a long 2 for Shannon. But nice to see the range get back from Mohawk slightly here to open up the fourth. McCabe.
And a little bit of a performance we missed from Shannon this game as well. Someone that we thought was going to step up her performance, and we're only seeing 4 points on the board for her.
And what a drive there from Steph Rymack to finish with the left hand. But like you said, I haven't seen the most out of Shannon O'Neill yet today. A lot of great defense. She's been more of a provider and maybe assuming more of a playmaker role on the offensive end than we thought or were first thought. Batnick will inbound to Rymack after the score for Niagara cuts the deficit to 13. Pockernick to Rymack. It's been a pretty quick start to this fourth quarter, lots of pace. Pockernick on the right side with space. Picks up her dribble, finds Rymack up top. Rymack in the middle was looking for Batnick, and it's stolen by Murdoch on the run. She loses the handle, though. Tries to find McCabe. Down low, earns the call as she goes up strong and will go to the line for 2. Once again, we've seen a lot of good play driving the basket from Alyssa McCabe.
Yep. So she's at 10 points for the game, is Alyssa McCabe. So she's had a really good game. And up there with her is Courtney McPherson. She's also has 10 points. And
of course, 8 rebounds for McPherson. She's on her way to a double-double.
Yep. And we saw that from her the previous game as well when she came up against Mohawk. Or I think it was actually against Sheridan. She had 16 rebounds. So that's definitely her area where she excels.
So McCabe able to make the first, and the lead cut down to 12 at 65-53 early here in the fourth quarter. And she will make 2 of 2 from the line. And we will see now the substitution of Carissa Brown into the ball game for Sam Pockernick, putting a little more size and down low play on the court for Mohawk. And there is Brown bringing the ball forward.
Double.
And Carissa, unfortunately, loses it to the double team. McPherson back the other way on the move with an easy lay-in with nobody around for Mohawk.
And that was a great press there. Carissa didn't even see her coming up behind her.
Great job of pressing on the full court from Niagara there, but now the other way with a pass. Carissa tried to lead Karina, and just a little far out of bounds. And one thing I was going to notice, up to this point, Jasmina Kusik, as a timeout taken by Kevin Duffy and Mohawk College. Jasmina Kusik, 9 offensive rebounds, has out-rebounded every other player at the point of the end of the third quarter in total rebounds with just her offensive rebounds. So she has 12 rebounds. She's already got 15 points. And
which plays off of those offensive rebounds.
And so having a double-double through 3 quarters, she clearly has to be the best person that's played through the first 3 quarters for Mohawk College. And it's pretty clear that Jasmina is as good as advertised, as Kevin said. Another thing to keep in mind, as we start this fourth quarter, Niagara has not exactly shied away from driving and keeping the fast-paced game up with Mohawk. And one thing I've been a little bit worried about, and something I've never seen last year with Duffy's team, is the lack of fallback and hustle to get back on those quick counters, and I've been a little surprised.
More so in just this last quarter. I think it's the endurance that's starting to wear on them. Maybe the Mohawk Mountaineers need to do a couple more suicides, a couple more laps. I think it's just starting to wear on them, and maybe they're feeling a little bit comfortable right now. They have a little bit of a lead. I think this is probably the opportunity that they need to be like setting up plays and using more of the shot clock, because they do have that little bit of a lead still, but at the same time, we have seen Niagara pop a couple threes in a row, so we can't get too comfortable.
And as Niagara College begin out of the timeout here, Hope Brown sets up and could not hit the open 3 from the corner. Carissa Brown forward to Steph Rymack. Looking inside for Karina, does not get it to there. Was much too late when she took the look.
Yeah, that's the time that, you make it down the floor and it's not going to work. So bring it back up to the top, swing it around, look for something else. You still have so much shot clock to use.
And those are the things Kevin will be relaying to his girls as much as possible. The only issues really offensively in this one have been a lack of consistency on their possessions. As there's Murdoch, Brooklyn driving to the rack, and we'll earn a foul, and she will go to the line for 2. Mohawk will bring in Jasmina Kusik back onto the court, as well as Sam Pockernick, and we will see Steph Rymack and Karina Brown get a much-needed rest.
Like we said, Kusik, so impressive. Her first game with us, and she's already scored a double-double in the third period.
First game in the OCAA, and she's got a double-double, as well as at the end of 3 quarters was not only the team leader in offensive rebounds, total rebounds, but also in points at 15. Both shots made from the free throws there by Murdoch. The lead cut down to 7, and now we see a a carry called on the Mountaineers trying to escape from their own end. And now Niagara will come back on the offensive end. Trailing just by 7. They've kept themselves right in this game. Off the inbound, Marshall finds Murdoch. McPherson, back, give and go to Murdoch, taken away by Kusik down low, but Kusik looks like she's come up hurt from that last play. And down the other way, stolen by McPherson. And like you said, a bad giveaway the other way by Mohawk. Murdoch spots up, an open 3 off front rim and out. And the loose ball worked for by Brown, but she cannot find it. And Kusik still looking in pain, holding her left elbow as she walks up the court, trying to get the attention of Duffy. And I believe we're going to see a sub, Batnick, for Kusik. And Kusik looks in pain as she heads off to the sideline. Carissa Brown inbound to O'Neal, gets it back and fires back to Shannon. Up the left side, good play to get across the timeline. Tried to go into the middle for Batnick off a hand. Brown found Batnick, but now closed out. Now Johns trying to get down to the rim, shot it up. A bit of a risky shot and did not find much there.
I think we have a kind of a tough lineup on for Mohawk right now. We have Shannon, who's probably one of the more seasoned players that's having to take control right at this point.
And Hope Brown comes flying in with an easy bucket, and the lead is now down to 5. The full court press is on for Niagara. The defense is being called for by Niagara as they are getting loud, and there is a block called as O'Neill goes hard to the rack and earns the call and will go to the line for 2. Much needed for Mohawk to put an end to a bit of this momentum swing here for Niagara College.
Yeah, no, these foul shots are important for Mohawk, only having a 5-point lead.
And so we'll take a short timeout.
No, it's
or excuse me, we're actually going to have
Murdoch. She's 5 fouls.
Murdoch will be on 5 fouls coming off. Kevin Duffy trying to use every second he can to relay some info to the girls on the court. As O'Neill takes the first of her 2 foul shots and makes, pushing the lead up to 6. Second is good as well from Shannon. And it's a 7-point Mohawk lead with just 5:58 counting left here in the season opening, home opening game for Mohawk in this 2016-17 basketball season. And they're pushing through the screen. And unfortunately drawing the foul and now being substituted is Carissa Brown. Coming back onto the court, Steph Rymack.
And Carissa Brown, she's in
a bit of foul trouble right now.
A little bit. She's well, that was her 3rd, so she still has 2 to give. Not much left in the game anyways.
And they're a reach-in foul on Steph Rymack on Marshall there. A little slap on the hand, and because of that, Steph now has also found herself in a little bit of trouble. That's her 2nd or 3rd foul, I believe, in the ball game. McPherson from the top to McCabe. Ingrabelli. A crossover that they say she picked up the dribble, so a carry is called on Ingrabelli. And with that 7-point lead still intact, Mohawk will inbound from the side. Kusick back on the court after getting nicked up on the elbow prior on her last series of play. O'Neill. Back to the top, Kusick. Rymack on the swing play. Looking down low, Johns goes up and cannot get it off, but takes a whack on the arm and will go to the line shooting 2.
And Duffy's happy with that play. You know, we saw the ball move around. You could see that there was movement. They were obviously running a fixed play there, and it got the result that he wanted. She's getting 2 easy shots from the line.
And that was Marshall's 3rd foul. So Murdoch fouled out with 5. Awuku 1 foul away from fouling out and has not been seen on the court for quite a while due to that. And Nguyen Marshall, now you can put her in that dangerous category with her 3rd personal. Johns able to make 1 of 2, and the lead up to 68-60. Long range pass, Ingrabelli down low. Almost picked up her dribble and was called for another carry. McCabe cutting through, tried to get
Good
through
steal.
with a swing and lost it. O'Neill. Rymack working on Brown at the top. Pressured, and Brown has stolen the ball. On the race now to the rack, and she's fouled hard by Rymack. Good foul by Steph, but that will be now her 3rd personal. And with that, Hope Brown will go to the line shooting 2. Just an 8-point game with under 5 minutes to play.
And these fouls, that could change the game a lot if a couple more key players get fouled out. It's already showed an impact on Niagara's end of things, but wouldn't be good for any of our Mohawk girls to get fouled out either.
First shot by Brown is off rim and out. And as you said, Duffy is keeping an eye on the girls who have come close into some foul trouble. That would be Rymack and the Brown sisters, all sitting, those three, at 3 personals. Shannon O'Neill inbounds to Steph Rymack. Working on Brown, who earned the steal last time. There's a throwaway, though, from Steph under pressure, overshooting the intended target, Shannon O'Neill.
And Steph, she's wanting a sub. I don't think she's not feeling her mental game right now. She's had a couple turnovers going up the court now.
Ingrabelli from the corner on a quick stop and shot in and out. And Nacarado couldn't handle the rebound. O'Neill picks it up to Rymack. Rymack to O'Neill. O'Neill pushes forward. Shannon O'Neill. Back to Steph Rymack. Rymack. Down low, it's Johns now, and a great left-hand layup off the glass and in.
She's had a good game.
To say the least.
She's at 14 points now, Hunter Johns.
Finding her way to the rim. There's McCabe, who's also finding her way to the rim and doing it with a full head of steam as she earns another call. And that will be on Hunter Johns, picking up what is her first personal foul of the afternoon, sending McCabe to the line for another 2. And Alyssa McCabe has definitely kept up the offensive prowess, picking up right where she left off after 15 points led Niagara in their first match win, 77-47 over Sheridan. She is again in double digits in points this afternoon. 70-62 to the score as she makes again, and the lead cut down to 7. As she made both from the free throw line, and Kusic now inbounding to Rymack. Steph drives up the court and finds Sam Pockernick. O'Neill off the backboard and out. Pockernick's rebound, no
like a
foul
foul.
call, and she'll
Gets
grab
herself.
the own loose ball and score. And Duffy can't believe there was no call on the whack on the arm she took on her way up with the first try.
And Sam Pockernick, like we talked about, we didn't really see her in the first quarter, and she's one of the leading scorers with 13 points.
And Pockernick has turned in a very good second half with this all 13 points coming. Has turned in a very good game considering she didn't play in the first quarter. And has had a pretty solid second half. Steph Rymack to O'Neill to Kusic. Kusic down
Nice
low,
pass.
Rymack. Good pass, good try, a little too strong. Ingrabelli having trouble in her own end with it. Tries to step out
Looks like
and
they're
dribble away. And they're going to make the call on Mohawk College. It'll be a Rymack foul on
That's her
the
fourth
slash
foul.
on the arm, and that is her 4th personal.
She had 3 quick fouls in this last quarter.
And that will be
She's looking
a
like she's
short
had a lot
break.
more of a frazzled play than what we're used to seeing from her.
Steph looking a little worn out, but
I
most
think,
at this point are,
yeah.
with just 3:20 to go in
I
the
think
game.
Duffy's leaving her out there because this is the situations that you need Steph to put the team back together and keep doing what they do, because that was usually Jen Genabella's position, like we talked about. So I think she's feeling a little out of it mentally, and I think Duffy's saying, stay in there and fight through it, and we need you to pull it out for us.
A good test early on in the first game of the year for Steph, but instead, maybe he's rethought his decision as soon as you said that. He decides
Go
that Rymack
figure.
will come off and
He heard
Batnick
me.
will step on. He heard you and thought maybe we'll save her for the last minute and a half, possibly. 3.5 to go. Long-range pass off the inbounds, and Johns puts it
Nice
away.
finish.
Lead is back up to 10, 74-64, 3:13 to go, 4th quarter. From the D-Bark Center at Mohawk College, it's getting loud now. They can feel the first win nearing. Alyssa McCabe at the top of the key, step back, she wants it, feels it, the 3, too short, off the front rim. Pockernick grabbed the board and had it knocked out of her hand, but that is a foul on McCabe, and that will be her 2nd foul for Niagara. And Mohawk will start by inbounding from the sideline here in front of the Niagara bench. Batnick to O'Neill. O'Neill works forward. O'Neill tried to find Batnick, but picked off by Brown, but great work by O'Neill to win it back. Now Kusic. Pockernick sets up 3 off front rim, a little short. And the rebound picked up and worked forward
Quick
to McCabe.
turnaround.
McCabe looking into the middle, did not look for a teammate, instead goes up strong, earns the foul, and after the miss will go to the line shooting 2.
That'll be Shannon's third foul.
So McCabe will go to the line, and as that happens, Ingrabelli quickly sub back in, and Hope Brown will take a seat. Niagara still fighting with just 2:37 to play, down 10 points.
And Hope Brown, she's been doing really well defensively. I think she's the one who kind of shook Steph Rymack's game, and she's had a couple interceptions, and I think she's been huge for Niagara defensively.
First one missed from McCabe. And we'll see how these last 2.5 minutes are played by Mohawk and who they decide to have on the court. There's a miss again, but the rebound picked up by McPherson, and a mistake there by Johns to take off from the key a little early. Left Mohawk with just one defender in there for the rebound. Pockernick had a defender fall, but it looks like McCabe's in serious pain after that move on the side and collapsed to the court in front of Pockernick.
Yeah, she must have.
And you could tell
rolled her
Pockernick
ankle.
Felt pretty bad because she had a bit of a hesitation as to what to do as the moment came. I'm going to try to get a look for you here on the injury and a little bit of a zoom in. First, we take a look at the Mohawk bench as Duffy tries to gather the team, but McCabe getting up very gingerly and slowly and trying to put no weight on that left ankle, it would seem. So Niagara College, with just 2:21 to go in the fourth quarter, have lost their most important piece. Their point guard, severely injured. Clearly a rollover of the ankle as she was trying to get in position.
She did have a great game, though. 14 points.
A very good game for Alyssa McCabe. Once again, coming out right now as the leading scorer, tied with Courtney McPherson in points for Niagara College. So very good start to the year for the point guard, but we'll see if she can hang around and play some more this year, depending on how the injury looks going forward for Niagara. For Mohawk, they will be on the defensive end as Niagara inbounds, trying to keep this 8-point lead. Nguyen Marshall across to Brown. Brown at the touchline at center court, almost had it knocked out of her hand, then almost again had it knocked out, but McPherson wins it. Here's Marshall to the corner. Nacarado puts up a quick three, drills it. Didn't see that coming from Nacarado. Looked a little bit forced, but she's cut this deficit down to 6. Or excuse me, they're going to call that a 2-pointer, and that's why the deficit only 6 at 74-68. Batnick in the corner. O'Neal at the top. O'Neal working in, trying to battle with McPherson, and the call is made on Courtney McPherson, and that is going to be her fourth personal foul, I believe, or is it the third personal foul for Courtney? So the ball to be inbounded with 1:45 to play and a 6-point advantage for Mohawk. Batnick to O'Neal. O'Neal off the fingertips. Kusick spins. Johns looking underneath. Quick lay-in. Doesn't go over the rim. McPherson grabs the board under pressure. Here's Ingrabelli crossing a court. She's giving a look, finds McPherson down low. No balance, didn't make the shot, but gets the rebound and puts it in. 1:25 to go, and it's a 4-point game.
And that's McPherson. That's her 16th point for this game.
Quickly up court, though. Jasmina Kusick to the rim, and she can't finish. Pockernick hit as she grabs the board, though, by Miss Brown. So good, quick play up court. Kusick close to being able to put Mohawk back up by 6, but great job of finding her way to the rim and grabbing the board by Sam Pockernick. And just before Sam gets to go to the line to shoot 2, we'll take a timeout.
I think it's still anyone's game at this point. You know, before the half, we saw Niagara. They were down by a lot more than they are now, and they came back and almost took it from Mohawk. So I think, you know, it's anyone's game at this point. If Niagara decides to pull out a couple threes, and Mohawk's in trouble.
Well, right now, even though Mohawk's setting up for 2 quick free throws here out of the break with 1:17 to go, it's a 2-possession game. So unless Sam can make both and stretch it to 6 points, it is still pretty iffy.
Which puts the pressure on Sam Pockernick.
A lot of pressure still on Mohawk. And like you said, it has not been a game where either team has ran away with it. And with the way that Niagara has shown us they can shoot the long-range shot, they are not really out of this game, even if Sam able to make these 2 shots, pushing it back up to 6.
If she makes those 2 shots, is Mohawk gonna put on the defensive pressure, or is Duffy gonna tell them to kind of sit back and wait for Niagara to get to them?
I would imagine that the full court press will remain, considering that they want to put the pressure on Niagara to not be able to set up as they come down the court and feel comfortable getting into their offensive set.
Exactly. Keep them a little bit frazzled and on their toes. But at the same time, Niagara has had a couple times when they've broken it through Mohawk and has gotten those scoring opportunities off of it. So we'll have to see how they play it. But I think right now we have, Steph Rymack, Shannon O'Neill, Sam Pockernick, like all very fast guards that they can handle putting the pressure on up top.
So Sam Pockernick will take the first of 2 from the free throw line here. And the first is off the back iron and out for a miss. We'll go to Christine Midgley as the game comes to an end for an interview and wrap-up report. As Sam makes 1 of 2 there to raise the lead to 5. That will happen as we come to the end of this game. .117 to go here in the 4th quarter. And as once again we take a little timeout break. 5-point lead for Mohawk. Niagara will be inbounding the ball, looking to try and cut into the deficit. They need a score with only a minute roughly left. And if I'm Niagara College, considering we're missing Alyssa McCabe, I think the ball's going to go to Marshall, or right now it's going to Ingrabelli, considering how good they've been from the outside, unless they plan to go down low and run it to Courtney McPherson.
Yeah. The other, with Niagara, taking a timeout now, obviously he still is in this game and wants to finish with the win. I think another good decision on their part would be going to the net. We've seen a lot of fouls. The refs are definitely blowing their whistle today, so maybe take it to the key and hope that you can pull the foul out of it.
And so, as we get set to come back out of the timeout breaks here, Niagara College have kept themselves in a really good position to try and compete, hang around, and win this game at the end against Mohawk. And Mohawk in a position that they wanted to be, in front in the final moments of the game, and a chance to close it out, and they're going to need to do it on the defensive end. So as we come out of the timeout from Niagara, Ingrabelli to inbound. Quickly to Marshall. Top of the key, Marshall. She's going to quickly shoot a 3. It's off front rim and out.
That was a close
and Mohawk
one, though.
grabs that board.
That would have been a game changer.
Oh, and a quick foul as Marshall tried for the reach in and got a little too high up with the hand check on O'Neill. And that's going to send Shannon straight to the line to shoot 2, with Mohawk trying to add to this 5-point lead in a minute 7 to play. Still lots of time left, and as we know, some basketball games, a minute left in that game can end up turning into about 10 to 15 in real time.
Yeah, and but it looks like the Niagara coach, he's ready to call another timeout.
And that is exactly what the plan is. O'Neill will miss off the back iron. Nacarado finds Marshall. Just a 6-point game after O'Neill only makes 1 of 2. McPherson in a 2-possession basketball game. To Marshall
like
at the top. They want her to get off another 3, and she hits with 53.8 to go. It's a 3-point game as Marshall drills from the top. And timeout, Kevin Duffy and Mohawk.
You could tell she was getting set for that one no matter what. She was going to fire it off.
So not the end result Mohawk was hoping for. Next time down the court, exactly what Niagara wanted, but exactly what Mohawk could not have let happen. They have missed a free throw each of the last 2 times down, so they've left 2 points out there that could have had them at 78.
And then
that
Niagara took the 3.
As you say, cuts the lead right in half. And now, unless Mohawk able to put points on the board here, Niagara's within a 3-point of tying this game up and putting a lot more pressure on these girls than need be.
Which it puts Niagara in a tough position, because on the Mohawk side of things, you want to slow the ball down. So Mohawk might just toss the ball around a little bit, waste some time since they have the lead. So I think we're probably going to see Niagara fouling just to get that possession back. Whether Mohawk makes those foul shots, it hasn't really been working out for them very well. So I think there's still a very good chance that Niagara could return and pop off another 3 just like that. Marshall, she's been on. She's been hot. So she's at 11 points now for her game.
And as Niagara and Mohawk come out of this timeout, The momentum is in Niagara's favor, but Mohawk, like you said, they need to be confident and controlled in this next possession. They need to waste most of the 24 seconds.
Exactly.
Because if they don't score and allow Niagara to come down, and they do happen to get that bucket and either cut into the lead or tie the game.
Tie the game, yeah.
You want very little time left when that scenario happens, and you want to have the last possession. So Mohawk here, important that they are controlled and take their time on this possession, unless they have an open look. Rymack back on the court to O'Neal. O'Neal thought about it early on in the shot clock. Drives forward, now back to Johns. Now Johns will go up with a quick shot, and she's going to earn the foul. That, again, not maybe the hardest of fouls. We've seen some iffy calls today, but for the Mohawk Mountaineers, they will take that as Johns goes up and is hit on the elbow and will now draw 2 shots from the free throw line.
Courtney McPherson's foul, so she's at 4 now, which puts her in a dangerous zone. But I think with 44 seconds left on the clock, I think you want to keep her on. She's been a huge asset for Niagara, and I think you kind of take your chance at this point.
And I believe they will, considering that they will need her if they want to tie this game up now that they are back trailing 5. 44.7 seconds to go, 4th quarter. From the David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center on Mohawk College campus, the Mountaineers in their home and season opener, the women's team, ahead by 5 against Niagara College Knights, a team they defeated in the preseason invitational tournament, and now are trying to defeat to open up the season 1-0. And with just 45 seconds left, a couple possessions in this game, I imagine we're going to see a lot of the ball in Steph Rymack and Shannon O'Neal's hands if you're the Mohawk Mountaineers on offense.
Yeah, well, and just looking at Hunter Johns, she's had a huge game just now. With sinking those 2 foul shots, she's at 18 points for the game. So she's definitely been a big scorer for Mohawk. And Steph Rymack, I've noticed, I don't think she quite has her head in the right place today. So I think, you know, the bigs are kind of what's working for Mohawk today, and that's where they need to be getting the ball into.
And even though she hasn't maybe been at her best, she's still been able to fight through for the most part. We're seeing her come out and play some pretty good ball here at the end, but like you said,
I think her defense has been good, right? So maybe she hasn't been able to get the offensive opportunities that she's used to, but she is playing great defense. She's had a couple steals and keeping the pressure on Niagara for sure. And
we've seen the ball in, as you said, Rymack's hands, but maybe not as much with the lack of confidence today, but more in O'Neal and now John's hands. Yes, Kusic hasn't really been on the court or with the ball in her hands on the court in this late game scenario yet, but that's also partially because she really hasn't been there the last few years to do that either. So you can see them going to Johns even more often. Quick inbounds, quick shot is a 3 and in and out from Marshall. It was so close. And there's Kusic now to O'Neal. Under 35 seconds to play. And that off the foot of Nacarado and right by a couple of our fellow staff members' heads here on the sideline.
Definitely wasn't very happy about that one.
And you can hear Beccaria for Niagara College alerting them with 17 on the shot clock. You do not have to foul. There's O'Neal. Quickly back to Batnick. Now down low. They want in the paint to Hunter Johns, who puts it up and makes it. And that should do it.
That brings her to
73. 24 seconds pretty much remaining. Couple second difference, game and shot clock. Great move by Marshall. Can't hit the 3 though. Pockernick grabs a tough board, is nailed by Brown, and the foul on the Niagara College guard. And Mohawk should have taken this one down now with a 7-point lead and just 16.2 to go. It looks like the Mountaineers are on their way to opening up the season victorious.
Niagara definitely hasn't given up, though. We're seeing them. They're taking those big shots that are the ones that would close this gap for them, especially Marshall, who, you know, she shot really well early on. She was the big 3-point shooter for them, but she's just not able to get them to drop under this pressure right now.
And Pockernick makes the first of 2 to push the lead up to 8. And on her second free throw attempt, she is good as well. So a 9-point deficit now for Niagara, but a quick outlet pass to Brown down the other, and the court is missed on a wide open lay-in. Brown again grabs the board, cannot put back the rebound, grabs another board, just seconds to go in this one. Ingrabelli will flick it out to Nacarado, and that will do it. The shot will count. Niagara will finish at 75 points, but they will fall short 82-75 as the Mohawk Mountaineers win their season and home opener here at the David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center by a final score 82-75 over the Niagara College Knights. Now that the game has come to a conclusion, and we have a few highlights to show you, I'm sure, and Hunter Johns, 20 points, one of the highlighted players of the game with the way she played. A terrific night for Jasmina Kusik in her debut for Mohawk. On the other side, Alyssa McCabe and Courtney McPherson definitely showed up to play. Juan Nguyen Marshall in her first or second game now in her first season with Niagara definitely showed us some of the qualities that make her an interesting outside shot. And as we come to the game, one of the things you have to be the most happy with Mohawk is just the way that they played defensively, grinding out and holding Niagara to just 75 points.
Yeah, and I think really the points were really spread on Mohawk's end of things too. I think there's a lot of developing still with the Mohawk girls, and I think that there's a lot of people that are capable of putting those shooting opportunities. We've seen, 4 or 5 girls close to those 10 points.
And when you think about this team, it's going to be a few girls scoring at once that keep this team successful. It's not a one-person or two-person relied team, and we saw it at the end as Hunter Johns went from pretty much 10 points to 20 all in those last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So, as we come to the end of this one, we're going to turn it over now to our sideline reporter, Christine Midgley, who's grabbed herself a young superstar, possibly in the making, in Jasmina Kusik. Christine, take it away.
Hey guys, I'm here with number 34, Jasmina Kusik, and it was an awesome way to start the home opener. I mean, such a tight win between you and Niagara. We saw you guys losing steam a lot after that second half, or lost after the first half. How did you come back in the second, pushing through that exhaustion for the win?
Well, we just focused on defense, having a lot of help defense. We have a deep bench, and we just kept the intensity up the whole game. So.
Well, it clearly worked for you. You had an amazing game. You got a double-double. I mean, as a rookie, you are clearly proving you're a force to be reckoned with. Has it been hard transitioning to a new team?
A little nerve-wracking. I haven't played for a couple years, but the team's awesome. I'm loving it so far. Love the intensity. Yeah.
Well, it's good that you're having such a good time. Well, we look forward to seeing great things from you all season.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Nick, Sadie, back to you guys.
Thanks, Christine. So 82-75, the final. The Mohawk Mountaineers women's basketball team wins their season opener for 2016-17. For Nick Birnie, Christine Midgley, and Sadie Martin, take care and enjoy the men's game coming up next, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern. So long, everyone.